I got friends only wanna talk business. I got expensive, cause winning's expensive. I got expensive, cause winning's expensive. I've been reading all the work, and I've been shutting down the stars.
Welcome back to FreightWaves Live at Home. It's put that coffee down time where we talk freight sales. It is the freight sales for closers. My name is Kevin Hill, here with
Richie Daigle.
Yeah, and we have some great interviews coming up in just a few minutes with Robin Jaacks and Justin Ballie. But first, we have Salesforce behind us. Let's talk about Salesforce. It's the world's #1 customer relationship management platform. We help your marketing, sales, commerce, service, and IT teams work as one from anywhere, so you can keep your customers happy everywhere. With Customer 360, your employees can focus on what's important right now, stabilizing your business, reopening, and getting back to delivering exceptional customer experiences. So thank you to Salesforce. And if you're unfamiliar with Put That Coffee Down, we come on FreightWaves TV every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We have great guests as always. We're going to have some great guests later on in the show here. But let's give away something.
We should. We should give away something.
We should.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want to give away?
About a grill.
I agree with that, Richie.
We should give away a grill.
A Traeger grill, the first of many giveaways over the next 2 days. We're going to do a Traeger grill, and the winner is going to be Courtney Marks, the customer experience manager from Turbo. So Turbo was just on right before us, and Courtney Marks has a Traeger grill.
May have more friends now.
She probably will, yeah. So we're going to give away a Sonos Entertainment home system coming up at the end of the show.
Awesome.
It is.
Awesome.
It is definitely awesome. So always good to give away things. But we're going to talk about freight and sales and selling technology. We're going to talk about visibility. We're going to talk about TMS systems. But let's set the table for ocean shipping with a sonar chart that we have up here that we used on yesterday's show. It is still as relevant today. Explain it, Richie.
Absolutely, and I think this sets the stage for the first conversation we're going to have. What you're seeing in this chart, in the blue line, this is coming from U.S. Customs. These are actual imports that are hitting the ports in the U.S. So we're seeing that information update every day. And what you see in the green line, these are TEUs that are being booked and inbound for the U.S. So when these TEUs are booked, there's a few days lead time before they're placed on a vessel, and vessels, it's going to take some weeks before they arrive. So that green line is a great leading indicator for what's to be expected with that blue line, right? So we can kind of get a peek at what import volumes are going to be over the coming weeks by monitoring the green line or those booked TEUs. And what you'll see on this chart is that green line's picking up. And even though imports are already elevated, there's already some port congestion happening. All signals are pointing to that trend continuing.
They are. We've seen successive waves over the past year of this data of durable goods. People are buying things.
People are buying
things. We have a chart for tomorrow on tomorrow's show of Put That Coffee Down that we'll do live at home, and it shows durable goods and imports. So people are buying stuff.
Stuff moves. You got to move it.
I know. It moves on a boat.
Yeah. When you're buying all that stuff online, it's got to get to you one way or the other. And that journey may start overseas, and that may involve boats and aircraft and trucks and trains and all sorts of things. So yeah.
It does. You said it backstage. Things move on a boat.
Things do move on a boat.
And when things move on a boat, you have to know where your things are and where that boat is, don't you?
If you're responsible for the things on the boat, you want to know where the things are, when they're going to arrive, and what's going on. And if they're late, you want to know why. And you need to set expectations.
You want to know, but more importantly, your customer wants to know.
How are you going to tell your customer if you don't know?
You don't. So that's a perfect segue to bring in Robin Jaacks right now. He is the Senior VP of International Growth at now P44, I believe. How are you doing today, Robin?
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you all.
I know
That
the
was
last
great.
time,
Calling again
yeah,
here.
the last time we talked, Robin, it was a few months ago at another virtual event that we did, I think our fall event, and you were with Ocean Insights, and now Ocean Insights is P44. Describe that transition, the acquisition.
Well, that's absolutely correct. So I'd say it's been a wild ride, as you can imagine, if you try to merge two very fast-moving companies into one entity. So it's been long nights, it's been many working hours, but the journey's been just tremendous. And I think what's most rewarding for all of us, both on the side what used to be Ocean Insights and also what's Project 44, is that the customer just really love what we're doing. They appreciate the effort, and they're all very excited for what we have in store.
That is exciting news. It definitely is. So let's talk about visibility. Let's talk about, we just had the sonar chart up showing port congestion. Let's dive into it. What are you seeing at the ports and just really in maritime shipping and demand over the past few months?
Well, right. I mean, like it's been a mixed picture. So clearly, what we've seen around Los Angeles, Long Beach is something that's on top of everybody's mind, especially if you U.S. importer. But I think it's too easy to forget that there are also some other issues around there that do not necessarily just affect the U.S. West Coast. So overall, beyond the capacity constraints, beyond just the price levels for container shipping, it's been just wild. And I think we've seen that those folks who had invested in visibility early on, before these things happened, had a much smoother ride than those who were kind of trying to figure out what to do now that problems started to happen. So this is something we can tell for sure. Those who had visibility in place kind of had an overview and couldn't necessarily solve all these issues right away, but you could at least say how bad it is at that point in time, right?
Yeah, it's a great point. And you bring up one of these buzzwords that's going around the industry, visibility. And visibility can have so many different definitions, right? It can mean visibility into the market conditions, visibility into where a container is located, but maybe, for the listeners at home, explain what visibility is. How do you define it? What does it mean? What are the benefits that you are providing to your customers?
Yes, wonderful question. And I think there's so many different aspects to what visibility can do for you. I mean, look, either if you look on ocean visibility, if you look road visibility, it's always the same thing. You want to know, where is my stuff? And you just think about the supply chain of a major retailer. They have billions and billions of inventory value on the oceans, in the trucks, on the airplanes. And I think even in the absence of having a very clear-cut idea of why you would need visibility, it's always a good thing to know where your stuff is. Let me start with this. But then, if you track thousands of trucks, thousands of containers, right? Then it's just too difficult to keep an eye on all that. You want to know about the exceptions. You want to know about the things that could potentially threaten the integrity of your supply chain. And a visibility service at the core of it brings these things to your attention. We allow you to take action before things go wrong. And at the end of the day, a visibility company like Project 44 also collects tons of data that will help you to make smarter decisions on the procurement side, on the network design side as well.
Speaking of collecting tons of data, certainly, what are the trends for data collection, data usage going into 2021 into the future?
Yes, that's a great question. So I think looking at different modes, looking at over the road, looking at ocean and air, I think we're at the point in the industry where a company like Project 44 collects descriptive data in a very reliable manner, right? So that's really the core of our service. But now it's we're all about improving our ETA predictions. Customers want to know about ETA predictions all the way from the port of loading, or in fact from the factory down to the delivery point somewhere, say in the United States, right? So they want to have these end-to-end ETA predictions, and coming up with something that actually adds value, something that's precise and accurate. That's difficult, but we're getting there, and we are very excited about this particular aspect. And then beyond this, of course, it's about leveraging the data which we collect on our customers' behalf to allow for smarter decision-making, also on the procurement level. That's then the prescriptive layer. So this is really what's in store for this year and next year in the visibility world.
Yeah, that's great. I'm curious, with all the disruption that's happening in the maritime space, seems like there could be decisions that are being made to start using different ports, to start, taking some different routes to get goods and stuff to where they need to be. Are you noticing any kind of trends? Are you seeing anything happening in the space where some ports or some trade lanes are growing and others are shrinking? Are there any notable disruptions that you are seeing happen in real time?
Yes, and in fact, what happened when we had the port congestion issue, which is once again still persisting at the U.S. West Coast, we saw that some shippers that wanted to get containers into the United States actually chose to ship through the Suez Canal from India, from Southeast Asia. And well, this is of course a strategy that backfired. I mean, like the idea was great, but at the same time, we could see volumes picking up on these on these loops. But this is then something, of course, we all know how that story ended. But beyond this, we can just deliver proof that capacity is still constrained, that volumes are still growing. And that we also see the number of blank sailings increasing in certain areas, decreasing in other areas, for example, in the Trans-Pacific. And last but not least, we see that smaller services are sometimes a bit constrained as well from the capacity side.
It's constrained all over the place, right? It is just a really hot market for maritime, and the visibility aspect of that is so important. Really quickly, before we move on, we talked a little bit about P44 Marine Insights or Ocean Insights, sorry, merger. Kind of real quick elevator pitch. What is the value that brings to global customers?
Yes. Well, look. Imagine you being like a major importer in the United States. Of course, the ocean lag is something that's important. But at the end of the day, you want to know where's my truck. You want to know when it's going to be at my customer's end. You want to know when it's going to be at my warehouse, let's say in Memphis or Chicago. And of course, this is the beauty then of a true multimodal visibility service provider that can give you the position of your inventory, your SKU level detail visibility on all different modes that you may use, because a customer wouldn't necessarily distinguish between all those modes. The customer just wants to know, is my stuff going to be on time? Where is it? And that's the question that we ultimately try to answer. And I think with this merger between Project 44 and Ocean Insights, we are the largest visibility provider in the world, and we're going to have the best end-to-end visibility in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Robin. It's always a pleasure, and we'll see you again very soon.
Well, thank you. Likewise. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thanks. So, again, Salesforce is the #1 customer relationship management platform. We help your marketing, sales, commerce, service, and IT teams work as one from anywhere. So you can keep your customers happy everywhere. With Customer 360, your employees can focus on what's important right now, stabilizing your business, reopening, getting back to delivering exceptional customer service and
it's all about.
Exceptional customer experience, certainly. So great technology all around. Always love talking to Robin about visibility. And up next, we have Justin Ballie from Rose Rocket. He's the co-founder and chief strategy officer over there. We're going to talk about management systems, that is transportation management systems. How are you doing today, Justin?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So real quickly, can you give a little bit of a background about yourself and Rose Rocket?
Sure. So Rose Rocket, we started in 2015. Really was actually a pivot from a previous business where we had initially intended to build a TMS for shippers, but really what we were struggling with is getting connectivity to some of the smaller carriers, even some of the larger ones. APIs weren't really a major going concern then, and P44 companies like that were relatively new to the market. So we just identified a pretty, what we thought to be legit problem in terms of, with marketplaces, you can see the marketplaces starting to emerge. How are you going to get trucking companies on the internet, basically? So we started in, like I said, 2015 to build a TMS for trucking companies and brokers, and here we are today. My background is in the space, in brokerage consulting and in LTL specifically.
Yeah, so with, there's a lot of TMS systems out there, and I'm sure you've heard this question many times before, but what sets you all apart? What distinguishes Rose Rocket from any other TMS system that is trying to do the same thing?
Yeah, so we took an approach early days that was pretty customer centric in terms of, I know you guys were just using the term visibility and kind of breaking apart what visibility means. So I'll use the term communication. And so I think even if I go back, I was just thinking about this before we started talking, is if I go back 5 years, we really leaned into customer communication, through, say, portals as an example. We've really sort of beefed up that offering, at this time. Driver, mobile apps and these types of things. I think actually early our product lacked a bit of operational excellence. But as our company grew and we got more feedback from our customers, we started really, I think, getting pretty good at that as well. And so I think simply our product really leans into connectivity with your customers, with your partner carriers, with your drivers. So we're very focused on networks and connectivity. I think that does set us apart, where we're a little more, again, thoughtful for the people and systems that live outside of the business, and more so than just sort of operationally inside.
Justin, I've done some research over the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of survey research. I think we've talked about it a little bit over the years over the phone, and we find that a lot of logistics companies, trucking companies, they just don't even use a TMS. Why is it so important for players in the field to have a TMS?
Again, I'll bias this with the Rose Rocket, lens, but your customers are asking for things to be delivered to them faster, more accurately. And that trend's continuing. That's not going to go away. Amazon and the large e-commerce providers have set an impossible standard that your customers are expecting from you too, even the small carriers. And just so getting that to that level, you can't do that on Excel. And so you really need to be thinking about technology that enables more access to more real-time communication, therefore more scalability in your business too. So your options today are hire a bunch of people to throw at the problem, or invest in technology to create some scale. And I think that as the problem and those demands become more intense, you just simply cannot continue to throw people at the problem.
So, as more small carriers and brokerages that may not be using TMS systems currently, as they start to become more tech-enabled and they start bringing in TMS and other technology platforms, what do you see that trend doing to the overall marketplace as the small players become more tech-savvy?
Yeah, my hope and my thinking is, and our thinking of it as a business in many ways, is that will help sort of equalize or normalize the field a little bit. So, in this space, you have, major companies that take up a large portion of all the trucks and therefore move a lot of the freight. I think as small companies become more tech-enabled, more scalable, more interconnected through the various networks and what's available out there in the world. So as the world of networks and marketplaces emerges, and they become interconnected and have open APIs, these companies become very, very nimble and can do things much quicker and adapt much quicker than your larger companies. So I think it creates a significant and meaningful competitive advantage for those small to mid-size carriers.
Yeah, Justin, it's all about it's all about attracting talent and driving revenue at the end of the day. All this technology that we have here at FreightWaves Live at Home, it's all about driving sales.
Yeah. I think that's you kind of bring up an interesting point in there, is that there's this. We speak so much in the space around the driver shortage, and as we should, it's real and it's a problem and it's hard. But there's an overall talent shortage that works inside the building too. So how do you attract younger staff that's going to want to stay and grow in the organization? How do you incent existing staff? It's your business. You lose a key dispatcher who's been doing something for 15 years. That's super difficult in your business, especially if you're a smaller company. They have so much tribal knowledge in their head, and getting to a place where you can have more of that information in a piece of technology, attract younger people with more modern tech stacks. There's I think we overlook how hard it is to retain, grow, and attract talent inside the business, on top of the driver problem.
It is. You hit the nail right on the head. Where does our audience go to learn more about Rose Rocket? And you guys have a demo coming up sometime soon here today or tomorrow.
Cool. So check out the demo and go to our website, roserocket.com, and we're on LinkedIn and all the other social channels that are out there. So whatever you prefer, we're, I'm sure, on the other side of that.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Justin. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks, Kevin. Nice seeing you again.
Always fun.
Yeah.
Good. Always fun. All this great technology is all about sales. It's all about driving those sales.
He brings up a great point. Everything's getting faster. There's impossible standards that are being put onto the overall industry, and so things are adapting. Things are changing. You have to get quicker and more accurate. And
you're not going to do that with an Excel spreadsheet. But I'm always kind of amazed whenever we do these survey-based researches, especially the carriers and smaller brokerages out there, 3PLs that don't have a TMS. They don't really have any system besides spreadsheets. And Turvo was talking about that right before we came on. And it's true. You can't get better, faster, leaner if you're not organized. And that's really the tools of tech, is to get you organized and get you up to speed, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe one of these days you can hit a Richie Daigle fastball or sinker.
Maybe.
If you have enough tech. But we have the Sonos home entertainment system that we're going to give away right now. And if you haven't ever experienced this, it's awesome. It's awesome sound. You can take it outside with your Traeger grill and listen to some tunes or a podcast, or put that coffee down while you're grilling some steaks or incredible meats. And that is going to go to Hugh McGowan. He's Transportation Planning Manager at PennDOT. So there you go.
Yeah, our voices will be a little bit clearer when you listen to us on the Sonos.
It will be. It'll be a little bit more clear. And we'll be back tomorrow about 9:30 a.m. for Put That Coffee Down with 2 more interviews. So they're going to be great. It's going to be fun. Up next is our very own proud president, George Abernathy, talking to Kendra Phillips from Ryder about technology, investments, VC, and where that's going. So
good stuff.
Stay tuned for that.
I got friends only wanna talk business. I got expensive, cause winning's expensive. I got expensive, cause winning's expensive. I've been reading all the work, and I've been shutting down the stars.